Welcome, folks. New episode of Figma Bosnia event. Current theme: what is design sprint? I think most of you have already heard about the design sprint, how to do it. Maybe somebody has already done it or tried. Design sprint is basically a method for rapidly solving complex problems and creating a new products or services. Today events is made in collaboration with the syndicate on the platform young designers. I need to always admit. So my name is Rusmir. I'm a Figma community advocate for the region Bosnia. Most of you already know who I am. This session is always recorded for people who could not make to this kind of event. If you have questions, please write them in the chat. And most of all, be kind to each other. We have a Figma community conduct code. So please, no bad words, no harassment. Be kind to each other. So introduction. This session is split in a couple of different chapters. Introduction, what is basically in design sprint, what are the key elements for successful design sprint, what are the benefits, and then at the end we have some resources that you can basically use making a design sprint or holding a design sprint with your team. And at the end, I have also a couple of books that I will share the link at the end in the chat with a file, so you can download those PDFs and maybe read them and try to I have a lot of new people. I need an admin. I need admin for those people who are attending. Welcome, guys. We already have started. So let's move on. So what is basically design sprint? Design sprint is a method for rapidly solving complex problems and creating new products or services. What it means basically design sprint is like gathering, like family gathering together in an office. It's lasts for 5 days, and the main goal is basically to keep most of the people who needs to be there, like stakeholders, designers, developers, different kind of marketers or subject groups. What they will do, they will collaborate and iterate basically on new ideas and developing new products during those 5 days. And the process is basically designed to help the teams quickly and efficiently to validate their assumptions. They will test the new concepts, and at the end, they will have a final solution. Not in that way, final solution, but at the end, they will have something like MVP. They can present that to their clients and just see how it works and what they did for those 5 days. Admit. Let's move on. During the design sprint, the team will perform a series of exercises like user research, brainstorming, prototype, testing, and they will iterate on ideas. And at the end, they will arrive at a solution rapidly during those 5 days. And the main goal of those processes is basically to create a tangible, high-fidelity prototype that can be tested with the users at the end. And I think the last day is basically the test day. So you have 4 days to iterate, to brainstorm, to change everything, to validate your ideas, and at the end you will have a final prototype that you can show to your stakeholders and to your clients. So basically, one of the key elements of design sprint is a user-centered approach, and it will put the needs and wants to the end user at the center of the process. So that means that this will help the teams to identify and solve the problems that matter to their users, and at the end we will create a product or service that meet their needs. And design sprint can be also used for many different kind of problems and projects. It can include improving on existing product and service. You can develop a new one, or you can basically explore a unique business opportunity and maybe validate your ideas for the next step of your product. It basically is a practical approach for all organizations of all kind of sizes and industries. It's not just for the IT industries. Design sprint can be also used and applied for different kind of industries. It's basically every time when you have a problem, you can use a design sprint to validate your ideas and at the end have something to show to your clients or to your maybe company board and just validate those ideas. What is the main purpose of a design system or design sprint? Sorry. Uh, the main purpose is to help the teams rapidly solve complex problems, and at the end, you will create a new product or service. It will allow the team quickly work through the problem and or maybe an opportunity that you have, and at the end you will arrive at a tangible high fidelity prototype that can be also tested with your existing users or new users using different kind of testing approaches. And based on those feedbacks, you can always iterate and change it based on the feedback and improve your product. Design sprint is also particularly useful for organizations who are looking to innovate or launch a new products or services. It will allow organization or your team to validate all your assumptions quickly, and you can test basically the new concepts, and at the end you can arrive at the solution. It will help the organization to reduce the risk and uncertainty and increase the chance of a success with their new products, which means that another purpose of design sprint is to improve the whole kind of collaboration and teamwork. And at the beginning, we already mentioned what kind of group or what kind of people should be included in a design sprint week. I mean, this process will bring diverse stakeholders, including designers and developers and marketers. I think in our design sprint that we trying to hold with the team, mostly we have developers and product owners and product managers, depending what do we want to achieve with the design sprint, either bringing a new product or validating some ideas or getting some kind of improvements on an existing product. Depending on your end goal, you will basically include people that needs to be there and make certain decisions at the end. Design sprint will also help you to better understand your users and their needs, and that's why we already mentioned that the user center approach of the process is the one of the best that you can use and go in that kind of direction in order to solve all those problems. We mentioned also at the beginning that there's a different kind of stages in a design sprint. I will use some other word choosing. It's not just like day one, brainstorming, ideating, and then designing low fidelity wireframes and testing and prototyping. Uh, this is the most common word choosing. Like the first step is basically to understand, and it will be held on the first day. And his primary goal is to establish the clear understanding of the problem. That means that the team that means that team has a problem and needs to try to solve it, and they basically have a target audience that are trying to solve that kind of problem that is related to their audience. This phase is also about research and information gathering, and basically the whole kind of team will spend one day or 8 or 9 hours just researching and searching all possible problems. And during the understanding phase or the first day phase, the team should define the problem they're trying to solve, identify the target audience for the solution, Then they need to go to the research of all kind of industry in the market related to their problem. They need to understand all kind of user pain points that they currently have, or maybe in the future. They will gather any existing data or feedback on the problem, and then at the end, as the last part, they will identify any known constraints and limitations. And there will be a couple of different kind of methods of research and analysis that you can use, such as like conducting user interviews or surveys. You can analyze existing data or user feedback. Then you can review industry reports and the studies. And at the end, the last one is basically competitor analysis. So all those four, you can have data up front, or you can use the whole kind of day researching your competitors, what they're doing, how they're doing the product comparing to your user needs or your needs in the future that you try to solve or improve. And the team will use at the end all those information to create basically the problem statement, or how we might be statement. And in most of the templates that you can use during this phase, you will probably read a lot of like short letter um usage for how might we like HMW. And this is basically, it will serve you to serve you as a guide through the rest of the design sprint. And this statement should be specific, like measurable, and clearly define the problem that the team is trying to solve. And at the end, you need also to define the target audience that you're trying to solve the problem for. The research and information gathering process will help the team to develop a deep understanding of the problems, their user needs, and if there's any existing constraints, so that you can at the end generate better and more relevant ideas later in a diverge phase. And diverge phase is basically the second phase, or the second day of design sprint. And diverge is basically all about generating a wide range of ideas and potential solutions to your problem. And basically, you already have defined the problem during the understanding phase, so you know what needs to be solved. And the goal in the second phase is to come up with so many different ideas as possible. It doesn't need to be just one idea. So every participant in a design sprint on the second day can write as much as possible things, and those can be like just simple ideas up to complicated ideas that needs to be break down in small phases, and maybe they need just a different kind of approach for researching and deeper researching. So this phase is also an opportunity to involve as many different perspectives and ideas from the team as possible. So everybody, as I mentioned, everybody can just take a paper or stickers or whatever, whiteboards, and just write their ideas down. And during the diverge phase, the team should mostly generate, as we mentioned, a wide range of ideas, potential solution to the problems, encourage participation and contribution from all team members. And the mostly what I have forgot to mention at the beginning, the good thing or the good way is to have some kind of moderator or facilitator who will lead the design sprint during those 5 days, and just be there, give the task, and give all kind of direction, or right direction to the rest of the people. So sorry. The third step is basically to avoid all kind of criticism and evaluation of ideas. So as we mentioned, everybody can bring the ideas, can write it down. Doesn't matter if they're simple, if they're high valued ideas. So all ideas are appreciated to together at the one place. And the last thing is basically to record all ideas and potential solutions. So everything needs to be write down, so don't miss anything. And there's a couple of different techniques that can be used during this phase to generate ideas. The one is the brainstorming, the classic brainstorming structure group brainstorming session. Then you can use the Crazy Eight. Crazy Eight is basically that each team member will write 8 ideas in 8 minutes. And then you can use the scamper technique, is basically to remodel and improve existing ideas by substitution, combination, adaptation, modification, putting to other uses, elimination, reversing. So it's just like a mixing, writing everything down and then just shuffling and mixing and trying to see what works better with all those ideas that you have right now. And once the team has generated a wide range of ideas, they should be recorded and organized. Um, I think in a way that makes it easy for the whole team to review it and also to have a reference for later on. This can be done with sticky notes, whiteboards, digital tools like shared documents, Trello boards. Doesn't matter. I think mostly what will be used on those sessions is either the whiteboard or the sticky notes. Of course, there's a different tools that can also be used. They will be definitely helpful for the whole team. But we will speak a little bit more later on. The Verge phase is also important steps in a design sprint because it will allow the team to generate a large number of potential solutions to the problem, and this will also be a good thing when you move on to the third day or to the next phase called Converge. And Converge is basically all about narrowing down the ideas generated during the Verge phase and selecting the best one to pursue. So it's just eliminating, okay, this is viable, this is not viable, this will take too long, or maybe we can just skip it and have it in the next iteration of the design sprint. And I think the main goal is basically to review all of the ideas that we have generated and to make at the end of the decision which one has the best potential in order to solve our problem. But you can also, I mean, during this Converge phase, team shall do some steps and decision. And I think reviewing of all those ideas and potential solution which are generated during the Verge phase can be really good evaluated, because there's some kind of factors that can be impact, like feasibility, alignment with the problem statements, and at the end the whole kind of group can discuss and debate of pros and cons of each ideas. And I think the discussion is really needed that third days, because there's a lot of things to be done and to decide which kind of idea is feasible and in what kind of direction you want to go in order to solve your problems. You can use also different kind of methods to evaluate and make better decision on new ideas. The one is basically the voting, so each team member can vote for their top choices. Then you have a dot voting. There's a couple of templates on a FigJam that can be used, where basically each team member is given a set number of sticky dots, and you can place them in your favorite ideas. And the more dots you have on some ideas from all kind of team members, I think you should basically pursue that kind of idea and then make it a little bit more broader. And then you have economic model method. The team creates a fictional budget and assigns a monetary value to each of ideas, and with more money going to more promising ideas. So depending, it's just playing what will happen if this idea go into the production, how much money and time do you need to spend. So is it feasible or is it not feasible to do it? And I think when the team has select ideas that they want to go or pursue, they should document in the decision of any key takeaways from evaluation process. And this will basically ensure you that the team has a clear understanding of why they choose this particular idea and how it aligns with the problem statement. And I think it's not just sitting there and writing down, it's just discussing about each possible way of fixing your problems or trying to solve the problem. It's also important to keep in mind that Converge phase it isn't only the select one idea. It can also be to discard or to rank the rest up based on how much they align with the problem statement and user needs. So it can also be possible that during that phase you have 2 or 3 different or similar ideas which align on the same solving problem or same path that you're trying to solve the problem. So combining those ideas can also be great, because probably you will spend the less time solving the problems if the whole kind of research and ideas are aligned on the same kind of direction. And I think you can also prioritize and the development of most impactful solution, while also taking into account, as we mentioned already, the feasibility and resources required to develop them. So it's just writing down, researching. It's a funny way of working during the design sprint. It's not a big deal, so you can read a lot of books and watch a lot of YouTube videos. How do I want to go? But if you know the whole kind of process, what happens each day and what needs to be done of each day, of each of those days, then you can basically facilitate your design sprint really easy. And if the team is aligned on the same kind of goal, solving the problems, or have really great ideas on how to solve the problems, then you can, based on all those research and based on all those ideas, really fast at working and have a fast paced production at the end. The fourth day is prototype. I love this kind of day because it's about creating a physical or digital representation of the solution that was selected during the Converge phase. And the main goal is to create a prototype that can be used to test and select solution with users and gather valuable feedback. Uh, During the prototype phase, team needs to pay attention on creating that kind of physical digital representation. Sorry, I was really sick, so sorry for coughing. They need to determine the scope of the prototype based on the time and the resources that they have available. They should create a realistic yet MVP of the solution that they came up, and they need to ensure that the prototype can be tested with the users. Why we mentioned this? Because the scope and complexity of the prototype will vary depending on the solution that was selected and the resources available. Some solutions can be high fidelity, some solutions can be low fidelity, depending how fast we want to test your prototype. And I think making a prototype on a 4 days and fixing all those connections will help you definitely to have a better result on a 5th days during the test phase. And I think the goal is to create as much as possible as a minimal and functional prototype, and don't waste too much time. It needs to be basically functionally. You need to validate your ideas during the prototype phase, and the prototype needs to work. So don't avoid. You should avoid all broken links and broken hotspots, because if the prototype is really well made, it will help you definitely through the later research, to validate your ideas and just to see uh, how the final product will work at the end. And the team should also keep in mind that the prototype should be, as we mentioned, realistic as possible. If it's doable, to use mostly accurate designs that will be probably used later. But if not, the low wireframe is also a good validation, just to see the whole kind of user experience. If the user experience is well made, I think the UI can just bring give the life to the product at the end. And as we mentioned, and when the prototype is done and complete, team should also document any key takeaways, just to see how the process went, and just go to the next phase, basically the testing phase. You should also keep in mind that the prototype phase is not the end. As we mentioned, it's always an iterative process. And I think the last, like fourth and the 5th day is always like a upcycling. It's just a cycling process. So when you have done your prototype, basically you can always get the feedback from your internal people, from your group, and just see if the prototype is ready to be tested. If not, you can always change during that 8 or 9 hours during the day your prototype, and have mostly, I will not say 100% good prototype for testing, but mostly to the 100%, just in order to ask the questions for your user during the testing phase. And as we mentioned, the last day or the fifth day is the test phase or test day. And this is the final step in a design sprint, and it's all about validating the solutions with the user. And the goal of this phase is to gather all valuable feedback on the prototype created during the prototype phase or the 4 days, and to use all kind of feedback in order to make any necessary adjustment to the solutions. And during the test phase, the team should recruit users to test the prototypes. Mostly we'll use probably different platforms in order to test your users, or you can have a focus groups and just give them the prototypes and different kind of questions, and as I say, you can use different kind of ways to test it. Conducting user testing sessions with the prototype, observing the users, how they interact with the prototype, write any feedback that you get on the prototypes, and just observing the people, how they use your product, the MVP product. On a prototype, you can just gather all required information, just see if the user experience is okay, or what needs to be changed, or where they're struggling. You can analyze the whole kind of feedback in the data, and the most important thing is to identify any issues or areas for improvement in the solution that you have provided. And there's a couple of methods that we already mentioned in order how to gather all kind of feedbacks and the data on the prototypes. The one is the usability testing, and you can observe users how they interact with the prototype and identify any pain points or issue. Or you can do just A/B testing and have two different designs, or if you have one idea or a couple of ideas that are aligned to each other, you can just do that kind of ABT testing and see what better fits and what better interacts with your users. Depending what you're trying to achieve, you have also habitual testings. It's not just usability, so you can have different kind of testing. I have somebody to admit, but I don't know where it is. Yeah, he just skipped our session. So once the team has gathered the feedback and analyze it, they should, as we mentioned, documenting, just writing documentation, because sometimes we need to go and see what we did on the first day. Is it aligning to the last day? Did we match with the prototypes? Did we transfer the whole kind of ideas to the MVP? So it's always good to have any kind of documentation and the key takeaways from each of the days, and just go and make sure that we have written down any kind of ideas or takeaways. So basically for later adjustment if there needs to be done to our solution. And as we mentioned, this is the last step of the design sprint, and its output shall be used to inform the next steps on the development or implementation of the solution. That means that it's important to note that, and I think I mentioned this a couple of minutes before this, design sprint is always a cycling process. So if you're going with ideas and generating ideas, and you trying to make the designs or the best possible solution in order to fix the problems, or to make the product better, or to improve something. So it's always like ideating, researching, making the prototypes, testing. Okay, you have key takeaways that needs to be done. Something needs to be changed, so you always go and iterate the design to the third days, and then you test it again. So it's always like a cycling process. It's something like a design thinking. So you have different phases. You go from one day to the fifth day, and then you go probably to the third day if you need to change something and to validate some new ideas. And I think gathering the feedback is really, 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 really important during the test phase, and also during the rest of the phases, because it will help you to identify any kind of issues, or possible room to improvement to your product. Because uh, we can always have a great ideas, and we can always discuss how we want to change something, how we want to improve something, how we can bring a new feature to our products. But until you test it, and until you see how the real users are behaving with your product and interacting with your product, uh, then in that kind of phase, testing phase, you will probably see what issues needs to be addressed and what needs to be changed. Because sometimes the small ideas that we have needs a little bit more changing, and probably we will oversee something. Doesn't matter if there's a 5 or 10 different peoples in the room during the 5 days. Some issues cannot be predictable, or are not predictable in the future, because I don't know. I mean, I seen it. I seen small mistakes that we didn't thought about, like font size or small sizes or accessibility, that will probably make the lot of issues during those test phases, because we have a thought during the design sprint we don't need to pay attention to the accessibility, and accessibility was probably the right thing to think about, because the users who tested was visually impaired. And I don't know if those things needs to be addressed up front, and think about those things or later. But during the test phase, we saw that we have those issues. And as I say, it's a cycling process, so it's always iterating. Um, I think the third chapter is key elements of successful design sprint. Sorry, there's a 5 key elements. The first one, we need to set the clear goals and objectives, and they will help us to define the problem the team is trying to solve, and provide a clear focus for the sprint. It's a clear and concise. English is hard language. Statement of what the team hopes to achieve. It should be specific, measurable, actionable, and the goals should be based on the problem statement that is defined in an understanding step and aligned with the overall business objectives. And the objectives are specific and measurable outcomes that the team hopes to achieve by the end of the sprint. The second one is you need to have a diverse team with a mix of skills, and I think we mentioned that already. That you need to bring different people to the table to those 5 days, and they need to have different skills. They need to have different kind of perspectives, experience, because they can generate more ideas. They can identify more potential solutions, and at the end, you will create a better final solution. And it's not just have a 5 designers or 10 designers in a room. It's good to have different people. The good thing what I have seen is to have a little bit more developers, because they can understand how to solve the things, and they will have probably a little bit more experience and knowledge about the products if you are in the phase of improving something, or if you have a great ideas. And we always know that developers and designers have a problems, but lately I have seen a really great collaboration between developers and designers. I don't know what's happening, but for the last 3 years, that kind of collaboration is on a high level, and they understand each other. And I think the design sprint team shall ideally include individuals from different departments, as we mentioned, like designs and development, research, and business. Business can be used, and we mentioned upfront that one method that can be aligned with the budgeting, and just see if the product is doable or feasible. So it's always good to have different kind of opinions and different ideas from the team who will work. Like client delivery managers can be also included, and they can help you with later with a better communication with the client, between the product managers, product owners, and the client. And having a diverse team with a mix of skills is essential because it allows the team to approach the problem from different kind of angles and from different kind of viewpoints, and they will at the end identify potential solution uh, that the whole kind of squad might have yet to be considered. And having them having them together, working them together with different kind of skills, as we mentioned, you can just have a different kind of opinions, and it's not just like fault blinded and let's go, we have one idea, we have one solution, we go that. No, it's better to have discussion with the people and just talk about possible different kind of solutions. The fourth one is the time boxed process. I love this one. You will probably think, why time boxed process? Uh, it's a vital element of successful design sprint. It means that the sprint is constrained by a specific amount of time, and we mentioned those are the 5 days, and each sprint is completed within a particular time frame, so 5 days. It will help you and you and the whole kind of team to be more focused, to ensure that the sprint stays on the track. It will prevent the team from getting bogged down in any kind of step, because you have a 5 days, you have understanding phase, the verging phase, testing, prototyping. Let me just admit this one. Oh, sorry. I need definitely an admin in the future. Okay. Um, the time boxed process will help you to create a sense of urgency and momentum within your team, which can help you to which can help that your team is better focused and motivated through the sprint. Uh, it will ensure that the team also can complete the sprint within a specific time frame, like 5 days, and you can basically be more focused on each of the days and get a little bit more done. It's not just talking about anything and making poses and whatever. It's just focusing. Each day has his own goal, and going through the days will help you to go from the phase to the phase and have a better outcome. As I mentioned, every day is dedicated to a specific step in the process, and each stage has a particular time frame. Mostly, it's a one working day. And for example, the first day, as we mentioned, is dedicated only to go to the understanding phase. What is the problem? The second day is dedicated to idea generation, and so on and so on. And as we already spoken, it will help you to keep the team on track and ensure that the sprint is completed uh, within the allocated time. And the last one is the user center approach. I think this is the first thing that we have mentioned by the beginning of this session. It's really important element of successful design sprint, because it focuses on understanding the needs and the wants and the goals of the users who will interact with the product or service that will be later developed. And the team can create a solution that they are really tailored to the user specific needs by keeping the users at the center of the design process. And I think going through the first 2 days and really understanding the problems and the target audience will help you definitely to make the better research and to write the better key takeaways for the next phase, where you need basically to generate more ideas based on all kind of inputs that you get from the first day. And it is a vital element, because as we mentioned, it will help to ensure that the solution is being developed and tailored to the specific needs of the users. It also will help you to identify the whole kind of pain points, the condition and the goals that will inform the prototype's design. And I think it will allow the whole team, which is working on a design sprint during those 5 days, to gather more user feedback that is really uh, quantitative and qualitative. So on the prototype, in order to ensure that is address the user needs, and it will help you to create a solution that are more likely to be adopted and used by the intended users. Um, Rapid prototyping testing. Yeah, we mentioned it a couple of times. It is a key element. It is time boxed process, 5 days. It means that the team has limited amount of time to generate, test, and validate solution to the problem. And the group uses rapidly prototyping techniques to create a working model on their solution to make the most of this time. What I like to do is since we're working with a Figma and you can always iterate on your prototypes, live iterating and just hearing the feedbacks from your colleagues and just change any kind of solution or possible problems that might be there in the future. And you can always see how the prototype is interacting live during those changes. And I think you you are the best users up front because you are generating the ideas, you're making the ideas, you're designing the ideas, and you are the first user who will use that kind of MVP product, and you can see how it interacts. And if you possibly you and your team see any kind of problems, you can change it on the fly. And that's why it's a good to have that live prototyping. It will, as we mentioned, will allow the team to test and validate all kind of ideas and concepts, and you can just adjust it quickly if something is like the spacing during the for example, I don't know, feature cards or different kind of cards is not proper. You can always change it and see how it behaves. And luckily, using the Figma and sharing the prototype link, you can just see it on your mobile devices or your desktop devices, and you can just give that kind of link to your design sprint team and just see how it behaves, and everything can be as a first test user during those prototype phase. And as we mentioned, the team will gather the feedback from users also in the early design process. You can share that kind of link with a wider broader audience in your company. You can do some in-house testing before you can just go to broader audience and test the product. Benefits. There's a lot of different benefits. I just wrote a couple of them as a summary. Uh, One is the faster production development. Uh, it's a 5 days time frame. It allowed the teams to move quickly, to ideate, to research. Doesn't waste any times on unnecessary talks. Just go. You have a problem. What needs to be done? You can make all kind of journey maps. You can make user goals. You can do whatever you want during that 5 days, especially on a first day, on an understanding phase. You can make a better decisions. That means that the whole kind of group of people who will be in the room during those 5 days can make better decisions based on the research and the feedback, uh, rather than relying on assumptions and personal biases. Then you can increase the collaboration and alignment because there's a lot of different people from different teams and different departments. It will ensure everybody to be on the same page and to work towards a common goal. So the communication will be better and the collaboration will be better, definitely. Then you can reduce the risks, and it means gathering the feedback by testing the prototypes early in the development process. Teams can identify and address potential problems before they're committing significant resources and time to develop the final solution. Then you have increased user focus. It puts the user at the center, and this is again user-centric approach. Uh, ensuring that the final solution addresses all their needs and goals. Of course, not all, but most of them. And finding those pain points and trying to address them, it will help you definitely to increase more user focus on those things. And then increase the innovation by encouraging divergent thinking and brainstorming. Design sprint can lead to a new and unexpected solution that might not have been discovered through the traditional methods. And this is a really helpful, because gathering all those ideas and not thinking up front on some ideas and solution can help you later, maybe to improve small things, and probably writing them down in those first days of a design sprint will help you to come later on and just see, okay, this is something that we think we can maybe improve or get on board, and just try it. And I think this is really helpful. Cost effective, as always. We always talk about the money. It allows the team to validate ideas early in the development process before the team goes to development. And we all know validating our ideas and designs during the development process can sometimes be harsh, because some unpredictable things coming up, and it will take a little bit more time to develop something that we didn't thought about in the pre-process phases. So it's good to validate, to try to validate everything in those 5 days before the product goes to development. And scalability, or scalable, whatever you call it. The process itself can be adapted to various contexts and industries. You can make it flexible and scalable product development, and make innovations tools. I would say the design sprint process team, based on all those benefits, can move quickly from ideation to prototyping and testing, and they can make better decisions based on user research and feedback. They can increase the collaboration and alignment, reducing the risk, increasing the user focus, and innovate. And this is something like a small summary of all those benefits. And I think this highlighted yellow can really translate everything, that all those benefits leading to increased efficiency and effectiveness in the product development process. And it can definitely lead to better product and features for the users. My favorite part, I don't know how much of you like to read the books, but all books that are mentioned, some later in the resource, will be included, and you can download them as a PDF and just read them. We use a lot of different tools and resources. I think since we're speaking about the Figma, FigJam is the one of the most used tools beside the Miro, and other tools. There's a lot of different templates that can help you to plan the design sprint week. There's also a lot of different and great resources from greater companies who are using their design sprint templates. And there's also design sprint kit that you can use basically as a guide to conduct a design sprint. You can use a Google Ventures design sprint also kit that is created as a guide. Then you can use a mural. Mural is also a whiteboarding tool like a Miro and a FigJam. It's something that you're used to. I mean, you can always find a great tool that fits for your needs and fits for your team. You can use a Marvel app for prototyping. You can use InVision also for prototyping and making the whole kind of interaction prototypes and animations. You can use a Figma. I mean, most of the things we're doing in the Figma today. And people who like the old school method is basically papers and markers and scissors and just writing everything down. And I've seen also a lot of prototypes which are made with the papers, just cut out papers and give to the people. It's like a cards and sorting cards and just asking them, okay, what is the next step? What do you think if you click here as in a real product? where it leads you, and then you can give them a different cutouts and just ask them, okay, show me what is the next step. It's a little bit fashioned old school, but paper stickers, it's a good way of whiteboarding, and I think a lot of designers are still using papers instead of digital tools and fig jams and mirrors or whatever kind of tool it fits best for you. Different platforms like a usertesting.com. Lately, I think I still have a license that I got from Usability Overflow. There's a new tool that I got email to test. Let me just open. It calls Full View. I didn't have a chance yet to test it, but I will. The CEO Daniel Beck has asked us as a community to test it. So there's always a new tools basically coming that will help you to have a better and better design sprints and better outputs. And using all those tools and resources, you can streamline the design sprint processes and ensuring that you have everything that you need to conduct a successful sprint. And as I say, I will share the file. There's a lot of community files. Spotify design sprint template. It's really, really good. I recommend it to take a look on it. There's also different design sprint templates that I gathered here. There's also YouTube video files or YouTube video on a Figma that you can watch. The one is in the file remote design sprint, and the second one is using design sprints to drive annual planning at Stripe. How Stripe is basically done. So you can just go and check it later. And as I mentioned, the books. There's 5 books, 5, yeah. So the one is already known to everybody. It's basically The Sprint by Jack Knapp and the rest of the gang. It's original book of design sprint and what is design sprint, and everything what we went through today is described and set by him. The other one is also Design Sprint, a practical guidebook for building great digital products by Richard Banfield and the rest of the gang. I also recommend it. There's I think, yeah, Inspired. Inspired has two different not the issue, yeah, issues. The one is 2007, and the second one is 2017 or 16. I'm not quite sure. Cracking Creativity, small PDF book, really nice, just to go through the pages and just to see. It will provide a deeper understanding how the creative process is and how it can help you to generate and evaluate ideas. Inspired, as I mentioned, provides you a comprehensive overview of the product development process that will help you from the understanding phase in order to apply the design sprint process to specific product development challenges. The last one is Make Time, also written by Jack Knapp, provides insights into creating a more focused, intentional, and productive workday and how can be particularly useful when preparing the design sprint. There's also Agent and Smart YouTube channel. You can watch a lot of about the design sprint. They also released a workbook on facilitating all kind of workshops that can be transferred to the design sprint, how you can better lead the whole kind of 5-day workshop during the design sprint. There's a lot of things, and as I mentioned when I will share the link after the presentation, there's a lot of different other PDF books that can help you to be probably a better designer, and it's a really nice must to have folders, and that folder and the link will always populate with the new PDF books when I get them, and just try to provide a little bit more reading stuff. I don't know. And as the key line says, reading these books will help you definitely to gain a deeper understanding of the design print process, not just about the design sprint process, but it will provide you also practical tips and tools in order to conduct a successful sprint. The last words from me today are the conclusion. Design print, powerful, effective really tool, You can solve the complex problems, creating a new and innovative products and services, generating a lot of ideas, gathering a lot of insights that will help you during the 5 days in order to try to solve the user needs. Uh, Bringing the diverse team, you will focus on user needs. You will walk through the structure process. 1 day, 5 days, you can quickly iterate and generate and test new ideas. And at the end, you can find the best solution for your needs. And you need to remember that the key to successful design sprint is to stay focused, to work together, to remain open to new ideas and perspective. So we go back to the beginning: collaboration, iteration. And I think being together in the same room for 9 hours, it will really help you to understand each other, and the thinking of each other will help definitely to generate the new ideas and to solve the problems. And you should go and embrace the design sprint, and trust me, the results that you will achieve may surprise you. It will bring the best of you and generate really a lot of new perspectives and ideas and the new views on trying to solve the problems, probably the things that you don't think during a normal day. And as I say, the main thing is the collaboration, where everybody just throw everything in one place and you can discuss and share your opinions without be embarrassed or whatever. It's just collaborating. So I will say thank you for today's listening. um Let me just switch to another one. So cancel